Havana Airport, Cuba. Our journey through Cuban soil has not reached its destination, but only an airport to take another flight from. We are heading for Cayo Largo, a true jewel in the Los Canarios archipelago, east of Isla de la Juventud, discovered by Christopher Columbus on his second voyage. A location kissed by the transparency of the Caribbean Sea and blessed by Mother Nature, who chose to immortalize the miracle of life here. With the paperwork dealt with, we board, and the wings of our little airplane soon carry us over breathtaking, unspoilt scenery. Stretches of bright blue water are interspersed with green, luxurious expanses of coconut palms and miraguano and hayako palm trees. Mangroves as nurseries for fish, iguanas fighting to mate, sea turtles reproducing. Here in Cayo Largo, nature unveils its virginity and magic, while man has created a park to protect it. The 25 kilometers of pure white beaches outline the long shape of the island, as its name itself suggests. Largo means long in Spanish, and we want to travel this entire perimeter exploding with nature. Once we land, our adventure begins. The small international airport of Cayo Largo is lively and folkloristic, and soon shows one of its most high-spirited aspects. Cuban music played and danced live, which, in just a few minutes, imbues us with energy. Waiting for us is Boris, a Cuban guide with a Cuban smile. As we travel streets and dirt roads in his off-roader, he tells us about the island and himself.
Hi, my name is Boris. We are in Cayo Largo. After 30 minutes flight from Havana, finally you arrived at Cayo Largo. I'm here to welcome you, and now I'm bringing you to Villa Marinera, an ecological reserve. I'm 100% Cuban, and I will show you all around this place.
Como si fa il nostro programma qua.
We have a double appointment in the ecological reserve we are headed to. The first is with Ruben, a researcher and devotee of sea turtles, and he is the one who will make our second appointment possible. Cayo Largo is one of the world's most important places for the reproduction of green sea turtle, the Chelonia midas, but also the lesser well-known loggerhead sea turtle. These animals are in danger of extinction, but here in Cayo Largo they are fiercely protected. Indeed, at Cayo Largo, life is considered a precious gift, and protecting sea and land animals is the priority of the park, which was set up here in 1997.
Hello, how are you? Very good, thanks. We are in Cayo Largo, which was declared a natural park by the Cuban state in order to protect all the animal species and, above all, the marine fauna of this place, especially the turtles. Turtles are a very special animal here in Cayo Largo. There is a reserve created especially for them, where Ruben directs research on turtles.
Boris and Ruben head towards Playa Lindamar, one of the largest and most beautiful islands of the entire island. Frequented by nudists and almost deserted and uninhabited. With a careful eye, Ruben looks for turtle nests. The aim is to take out the eggs and bring them to safety. The nesting areas on the island are kept under surveillance so that predators and natural agents don't endanger the survival of the tiny newborn turtles.
Three species of turtle nest here. The caguama, known as the loggerhead sea turtle in English, the green turtle, and the oaks-bill turtle.
A truly interesting project if you consider that, when the eggs hatch, the little turtles head towards the sea, risking becoming prey for seagulls, pelicans and cormorants. To avoid this risky crossing of the stretch of beach that separates them from the sea's depths, Ruben and his colleagues monitor the island's beaches day after day in the search for nests and eggs to save.
We use a container, putting some sand in there to stop the eggs from moving. A very important thing is that we have to keep the egg in the same position when we put it into the container. You can't turn it around or upside down.
When the turtles lay the eggs, it is usually evening time. This safeguard and protection project also allows tourists to witness this miracle of life.
Tourists visiting the island, both Cuban and foreign, usually take part in this activity.
Indeed, it's under the cover of night that the turtles come out of the sea to prepare the nest for their little creatures. Thanks to the help of the park's biologists and their infrared equipment, you can get involved in this adventure up close, or maybe we should say, from inside. We leave Playa Lindamar with our precious find, which Ruben carries with great care and love. Our next stop-off is another nature sanctuary, the Tortuguero, a turtle farm run by a likable animal lover, Leonardo. This reproduction center is part of the Cuban Natural Resources Conservation and Protection Plan, where important projects are carried out for the protection and safeguard of turtles.
Hi Leonardo, let me shake your hand. How are you? Good, I'm getting the nest ready. How many eggs have you brought? I have 138 loggerhead turtle eggs, which we'll place in 2 or 3 nests. How does the incubation area work? You need around 60 days for the turtle eggs to hatch. Once the turtles are born, we put them in the pool where they stay for a few days. At the moment, we are organizing the release of the little turtles into the sea with the island's hotels so that the tourists visiting Cayo Largo can take part.
So, Ruben has brought the eggs he has just gathered on the beach to this little turtle city. And so, he begins a very special activity, the christening of the eggs.
This is where we carry out a very unusual activity, a kind of christening of the nests we have prepared, or rather those our visitors have participated in.
So the nesting and release into the sea of the turtles are accompanied by the name of the tourist who took part in finding the eggs and bringing them to safety at the Tortuguero. On the other hand, entrusting yourself to Leonardo's hands is a guarantee, and both tourists and turtles can sense this.
Today, we christen this nest with the name Simona, who had us today. This nest is named after her, and when the turtles are released, it will also be recorded with her name.
Bueno, aquí estamos.
I will tell you all about what we do here in this center for turtle reproduction.
Tortuga. Aquí trabaja.
My colleagues and I work in research aimed at the protection and conservation of 3 species out of the 8 types of sea turtles that live in the sea.
Que habitan en los mares. Hemos creado
We have created a program called Ecotourism with Turtles, which is carried out in perfect harmony with environmental protection to give tourists visiting our island the chance to take part in our project in an educative way.
Vamos ahora.
Now I will bring you over to the pools to show you the baby turtles.
Esta es una de las piscinas donde son
This is one of the pools where the turtles are transferred to as soon as they are born.
una semana. Y nos
Keep them here in the center for roughly a week. Approximately 40-60 turtles stay here in the center for research purposes, from the latest nestful up to 3 or 4 years. Or rather, when they grow to a size when we can brand them, then they are released.
Estas pequeñas tienen 6
This little one is 6 months old. We have 2 groups of 5 months old. We are feeding them, as you can see, to keep them full of energy.
que ellas se mantengan vitales.
Over here, we can see 7 turtles of the same species as before.
Relacionada con aquellas
They are green turtles and are 2 years old.
verdes.
They are feeding at the moment. As you can see, they are growing well, and we can check each one's state of health.
Estado de la salud.
And they seem to be in excellent shape. These 2 will soon be branded and released.
Estas van a ser marcadas y liberadas próximamente. Por acá tenemos una pareja.
Here we have a couple of freshwater turtles. The Latin name is Trachemis decussata, better known in Cuba as Hicotea.
Jicotea. Aquí tenemos a Pancho
Here is Pancho
y a Elisabetta.
and Elizabeth. This species is very typical of the zone.
Esta zona viven en la
They live in the freshwater lagoon. They are very charismatic.
muy carismática. Y tenemos la hembra.
This one is a female. Her name is Elizabeth. In my opinion, when you work with lots of passion, turtles can feel that. Here in Cuba, people say that they are insensitive animals and that they are very aggressive. But if they bite you, you just have to snuggle them a little to get them to release you. Her name is Elizabeth. Look at how she behaves when she's treated lovingly. Elizabeth, relax. Breathe well, like a good girl, like that. Relax. Give me a kiss.
Por favor, entonces lo que
Now, what's left is to go and watch the turtles swim in their natural environment.
su naturaleza es observar las tortugas en su medio natural.
And here is our next objective: to see turtles swimming in their natural habitat, the sea. We leave the Tortuguero and head towards Cayo Rosario, around 18 miles from Cayo Largo, famous for its breathtaking depths. Along with Boris and Israel, both diving instructors, we get our gear ready, a bit hypnotized by the iridescent colors of the sky, clouds, and sea on the way. Once we arrive at the diving spot, Israel asks for our attention for his briefing.
Okay, guys, now we will dive in a site that's called the Labyrinth. The Labyrinth is a coral formation which has a rather flat sea bed 15 meters down.
Bastante parejo.
The dive will last around 40-45 minutes. It is a very simple immersion.
Sencilla, muy fácil, no hay
There is no current and visibility is very good.
bastante buena.
Always pay attention to the signal system while we are underwater, okay? Do you have any problems with the signals? No? Good. Are you all set with the gear? Is everything okay? Perfect. Let's go into the water.
Podemos ir al agua.
Vamos.
The Cayo Largo Marine Park protects a virgin and varied ecosystem. Hard and soft corals line paths made of canyons and caves, sinuous recesses and tunnels which become the habitats of numerous species of fish. Awaiting us underwater is a parallel universe, wrapped in a blue silence that surrounds every living being. The warm temperature, which fluctuates between 24 and 30 degrees, favors our sense of communion with an element so close to our nature, water. While we stumble across multicoloured fish, eels and rays, our favourite creature appears. The sea turtle finds his natural environment in these placid waters. In the past, you could fish for sea turtles in Cuba, including the hawksbill turtle, in danger of extinction. Nowadays, fishing is only permitted in certain areas and for marine biologists for scientific and research reasons. Unfortunately, our journey down into the abyss of this paradise reaches an end. The 45 minutes spent down there went by in the blink of an eye, and us human beings, lacking gills, are forced to resurface. To console us, a restorative lunch awaits us back on the boat, quick but tasty. We enjoy this on the boat while we exchange impressions on the dive, the underwater life, and the depths of this Caribbean paradise.
I work here in Cayo Largo as a diving instructor. I've been working here for 19 years. Before that, I used to work as a lobster fisherman. I think Cayo Largo is the paradise of the southern coast of Cuba. There are dives of all levels and for all kinds of clientele.
Cayo Largo is a beautiful island, and I have fallen in love with it.
The park is wonderful. You can't see an awful lot. The visibility wasn't the best, but we saw lots of grouper.
And I even caressed a little ray, which let itself be caressed. Back at the Cayo Largo Marina, the diving tourists arrange to meet up tomorrow, while Boris promises to show us another surprise inside the park, once more only reachable by sea.
We affectionately call him Tarzan. He's the owner of the boat and he's an excellent sailor.
Es un gran marinero.
Cayo Largo is a protected park which aims to safeguard its ecosystem, but at the same time has the important purpose of pampering the tourists who travel both long and short distances to visit here. A well-equipped marina and an international airport, as well as small, comfortable villages and transparent waters, make it a new, very popular tourist destination. But the surprise Boris has in store for us has yet to arrive. And it is here, in this channel of mangroves adorned with impressive vegetation.
The predominant vegetation on Cayo Largo Island is mangroves, Hispaniola palmetto, coconut palms,
Pino, la llana,
a very lush green vegetation. The mangroves are the natural habitat of the animal we call a Hutia, a Cuban animal which feeds mainly on mangrove leaves.
Precisamente del mangle.
From all the numerous species that populate the mangroves, the Hutia is probably the strangest inhabitant of this habitat. It is a small rodent endemic of Cuba, very similar to the nutria, whose survival is often threatened by both hunting and mongoose who eat them. In the Cayo Largo Park, this animal is protected and doesn't need to watch his back. Turtles, Hutia, mangroves, birds, and all the natural beauties that animate Cayo Largo wouldn't be so safe if there weren't the park keepers carrying out their work with passion and dedication. And we meet up with two of them on our trip around the mangroves.
Hola Nelson, ¿cómo están?
Hello, our things. What are you up to? Hello there. We are doing a patrol of the zone. We are bailiffs, and we are checking that everyone respects the rules that protect this area, making sure that no one is poaching. Have you found anything? No, nothing in the area so far. Are you continuing the patrol? Yes? We'll keep going on our rounds. Great, see you later. Bye, goodbye.
And so it is. Fishing is prohibited in the park, and the only kind allowed is the one Mauro practices with his tourists, fly fishing.
I run this fly fishing club. We go on fishing excursions every day with fishermen who come from all over the world. And this is the only kind of fishing you can do here in Cayo Largo. As you know, it's a protected area, it's a natural park. We only have 6 boats with license to fish in these beautiful waters.
However, this fishing doesn't always have good results. But the outcome doesn't seem to be the true purpose of a day spent in the middle of the crystal sea of Cayo Largo. Indeed, there is always something else to do or see. For example, the numerous unspoiled beaches that can be reached on board boats or in canoes. These beaches went straight to Boris's heart as soon as he set foot on this island.
This is Playa Sirena of Cayo Largo Island. It's one of the most beautiful beaches of the Caribbean. It joins other beaches like Playa Paraíso and Playa Maltiempo. This is the Tortuga. And together they make up the 25 kilometers of beach of Cayo Largo del Sur. I am a fisherman's son, and I basically grew up in the sea, and I've never seen a more beautiful beach in Cuba.
After having walked along this almost deserted stretch of extremely fine white sand, where relaxing is not a luxury but a pret-a-porter activity, we set out once more on the boat to see from up close the last miracle of life which Boris promised to show us. A small islet reserved for a very particular living creature.
We are here on the island of the Iguanas. It's around 100 meters long. It is formed with the rocky ground and made up of small shrubs, where 162 iguanas live. The name of the place is Isla del Perro.
62 iguanas, y de aquí donde viene el nombre de esta isla.
The island is a protected area. The expanse was divided into zones to help the study of the species. There are 162 iguanas monitored in total, in 3 different groups: the adults, the females, and the babies.
Por adultos, otra por hembras y otra por pequeños.
May is the month when iguanas reproduce, when we can see males fighting for their mates. It often happens between these animals. Their alimentation mainly consists of fruit and very soft leaves, whereas in captivity they easily adapt to fruit and domestic food.
We leave this umpteenth nature sanctuary, wild and untouched, to go back to the ecological villa. This time, our aim is to satisfy the last sense not yet sated on this long journey around Cayo Largo. And so, we prepare to enjoy the taste of the gnocchi the accurately trained Cuban cook is preparing for us. Gnocchi with fresh tomato and basil. A corner of Little Italy hidden away on a Cuban Cayo full of marvels. A Cayo where life flows to the tam-tam of natural primordial rhythms. Far from misuses and reckless exploitation, because every life that is born here has eyes to be seen, guarded and protected.